So, dear friends, happy to see you all back inside again. Please find a seat if you haven't done so yet. And as you can hear, it's getting like lower and lower, and I think this week is a test how low I can take my voice, really. But the next part of the program is called EstLit Presents the Artifice and the Real. And we had been thinking for a long time that since we have, at every Prima Vista festival, we have a lot of international guests, but this year is very special because we have the UNESCO Cities of Literature representatives here. So we wanted to find a way to show you Estonian literature. You will all receiving your reading recommendations and so on, but we also wanted to show Estonian literature live. And since we have this wonderful, quite new magazine, we used to have a magazine called the Estonian Literary Magazine, and then it closed. And I'm really happy that it was possible to establish a new one. It's called EstLit. And we turned to the editor-in-chief, Kristjan Haljak, who is also a writer, and asked him to curate this program for you. So now I will stop talking and I will give the mic over to Kristjan. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, good evening to everybody. I'm so happy to see so many nice new faces, people who I haven't met before. And yes, I'm so glad that you are here. And so yes, she didn't lie. I'm the editor-in-chief of this new literary magazine, EstLit, short for Estonian Literature, and you can read it online. Everything is online as well. The website is extremely simple. It's www.estonianliterature.ee, but it's also on paper, and you can buy it at the bar for the meager price of €3. And tonight, yes, the name of the event is Artifice and the Real. Of course, it's playing with a title of this year's Prima Vista Festival. But I was also thinking a bit. I remembered a quote or something from Lacan, who said that the truth has the structure of fiction, and it's something I have been thinking about a lot these days, the relationship between literature and reality and the truth, and somehow also that thing that is extremely important to me in poetry and in literature in general, that it should somehow reach deep beneath the surface and to somehow get to this dark essence of the human psyche. But I don't know, I hope so that I know that these authors are capable of doing these magnificent feats, but tonight we will be reading, the authors are all authors of the magazine EstLit, and I will introduce them briefly and then let the show begin. We are starting with Sveta Grigorjeva, and I will read a brief introduction as well. Sveta Grigorjeva is a poet, choreographer, and cultural provocateur based in Tallinn. Her work moves between poetry, choreography, performance, and politics. Her debut collection, Who's Afraid of Sveta Grigorjeva, was hailed by Estonian critics as the best poetry debut of the decade. Her most recent book, Frankenstein, brings together social commentary and tenderness. She is also a doctoral student in choreography. So please, Sveta, the stage is yours.
Hello. My name is Sveta, and thank you, Kristjan, for the introduction. I must say that I didn't really rehearse this text in English, but so let's hope I will not suck that much. Time to appear, yo. The hour is super nigh. Liberate your daughters, sons, non-binaries, sexuals, asexuals, sex positives, and negatives. Time to appear, yo. The hour is super nigh. Frankenstein monster has returned, but this time isn't seeking a companion, doesn't feel alone, doesn't rampage or hide from others. They've got way more interesting things to do, plus the world needs saving. So time to appear, yo, the hour is super nigh. This monster here made themselves, but they're not so stupid to believe they're totally self-made. Monster, they know what structural inequality is, class-based society, institutional critique, even intersectional feminism. Frankenstein monster is an autodidactic baby, now aware they've been lied to their whole life about the nature of happiness, gender, power, love, capitalism, socialism, anarchy, what beauty is, what ugliness is, who real monsters are. You thought they were simply hiding this whole time, but no, they were reading Maria Under, Heiti Talvik, Foucault, Graffiti, The Moon, Davies, Haraway, Wittig, Le Guin, Butler, both Octavia and Judith. And they no longer have a single creator to bow before, to beseech, to bestow someone just like them. What's more, they know now that existence is performative, an act based on repetition, so time to appear, yo, the hour is super nigh. Frankenstein monster is back and now polyamorous, aromantic, ecosexual, more interested in periwinkles than in the third pension pillar, nuclear family or content creation. They proclaim, you can be a freak too, you can be a monster too. You don't have to hide anymore either. Our aesthetic sense is still just too tiny, so hey, let's broaden that spectrum a little, baby. Don't believe in standard lust packaged into products like Tinder. Let's not cram ourselves into something so little. We're way more like Frankenstein monsters. May the whole world fill with us monsters, cyborgs, centaurs, transgenders, any genders, gender benders, mythological goddesses. Yeah, we're not afraid of suffixes anymore either. It's divinely okay to be a woman, even more so. So, time to appear, yo, the hour is super nigh. Frankenstein monster is back and shouting from far away, yo, where my Frankies at? So that was the first one. Yeah. Thanks. You don't have to clap. You can clap later. The universe is my Tinder, which basically means that when I get the feeling like I want somebody, I mean to fall in love, etc., I send out a mental wish into the universe, a la clouds, trees, water, fire, air, hills, plants, etc. The cosmos. In short, hey, can you hear me? Please send me the handsomest, coolest, sexiest, funniest, bravest, smartest, book-loving person, preferably a man, but, well, I'm open to the idea of being open, that I could fall in love and love someone regardless of gender too. But just in case, please go ahead and send me a man, okay? Unfortunately, I've got to admit that the universe is a very slow Tinder, because it's basically been forever since I sent out a similar wish, and I don't seem to have met the handsomest, coolest, smartest guy. I suppose I've gradually come to terms with the possibility that as the given platform does possess a certain degree of temporality, that in no way fits today's left, right, fuck and chuck tempo and temperament, the universe might send me that person in the next life, or even maybe the one that follows. You know, it's totally possible, or at least can totally be ruled out, that 2 lives from now on, I'll reincarnate as a koala instead. And therefore, it's not that the right person for me does not exist. The thing is that I'm still a person. The thing is that I am not a koala yet. Okay, you can clap. Okay. Thanks, you're very kind. Is weakness the new strength, the new form of resistance? Is fragility maybe our common fate, everyone's shared form of existence? For the first time in ages, I wanted to write something extremely fragile, something that doesn't walk on 2 legs, that doesn't look or sound like a text, that needs a guide dog, a guide spider, a guide koala, a guide lobelia, a guide river, a guide dirt. I wanted to suddenly weaken into weakness, so my poetry wouldn't be so strong anymore. Wouldn't be, let's fuck things up anymore. It's so masculine, rigid, erect, stiff, arrogant, thinks it can penetrate anything as if it were nothing. I wanted something softer, an eternally impotent text that never rise again, a text for which nothing will ever rise again. I wanted a poem that was slow, that crawled like a snail, like clouds on a day with the slowest breeze, a text that doesn't metaphorically overload on capitalist drugs to stay up all night, a poem that could never again be hitched to the latest model wagon of productivity, fate, society, a poem that through weakness resists the everlasting cult of speed and strength, a poem that doesn't have a muscular, sexy six-pack, but jiggling, wiggling cellulite and acne scars, a poem that refuses to cooperate, to work dully and trivially, a poem that isn't assembly line work or uninsured freelancing, a poem that isn't a privileged man, a poem that senses its boundaries, how delicate they are. So I very wanted to write a text so weak, like an infant who can't hold its head up yet. I wanted a weak little text whose head to hold. But then I realized poems that are not soft don't exist. There is no such thing as a strong poem. No matter what might be said in it, what words are used, even with extremely sharp edges, it's fragile. All poetry is extremely weak. Even if it says words like cunt, shit, ass, or cock. Actually, maybe, especially then. Thank you. How much time do I have?
15 minutes total, it would be good. Want to read one more?
I read two more. If I already came from Tallinn, I'm reading two.
You can read 3.
Mother Nature. Sometimes I wonder why on earth people tend to call nature Mother Nature, and whether that means she's a single mother. Certainly seems intriguing, no? Does that mean I am the child of that single mother? One of many. And in that case, are humans her most spiteful and misbehaved offspring? If Mother Nature had the chance, would she give us up? Me, you, all of humanity, for adoption, or maybe for Dad to raise. But where is Dad anyway? When's he coming back? Why haven't we seen him in so long? Why haven't we seen him at all? When he's coming back from work, from heaven, from the bar, from another woman's place, from leading business and the world, from making scientific discoveries, from starting war, from ending war, from deciding over the bodies of you and me, of mothers, daughters, sisters, Mother Nature. By the way, did nature even want to be a mother in the first place? Did anyone ask her? I actually don't like the notion and metaphor of nature as mother. I think nature as lover would be far better. And that lover doesn't have to be a woman, no? Think if nature were your lover, the joy with which you would cast yourself into the waves of her seas, getting wetter than you ever gotten before, the delight with which you'd press your fingers into her damp soil and massage her sandy surface with your feet, the glowing heat with which you rub against her stony matter, touch the rough trunks of her weathered trees, and dance anything but a stiff lap dance for any bush. Let's liberate the mother from nature. She's never wanted to be it. Of course, none of us know what she even could want, but maybe, just maybe, she'd like a relationship with you and me as equals. Thanks. And the last one, it's a bit funnier. It's a bit like a manifesto that I wrote for me, but also for everyone. So if you feel like the new old girl, please. The new old girl criticizes capitalism and progress, is an anti-fascist and an anti-latest gadget fetishist, is afraid of an artificially intelligent future, but believes in using technology wisely. The new old girl doubts all normative practices, like relationships, power, sex, while looking freely at YouTube makeup tutorials for both a feminist critique and a means of beautification meditation. The new old girl stretches the body as well as she stretches the understanding of what the body is, can be. The new old girl can masturbate with hand, dildo, mountains, and Cadillacs. The new old girl is a plant-wise, cyber-sacred techno-wizard, lays tarot cards, knows body meridians, can cook sex-changing hormones, fights for women's reproductive rights, opposes the heightened sentiments of anti-vaxxers. The new old girl reads the new and old, from indigenous wisdom to utopian speculative futurism, and everything in between. The new old girl is not afraid of complexity, simultaneously larger and situational thinking. She understands that we have to deal with the aggressor just as forcefully as to think of alternative to the patriarchal and militaristic world order itself. Because the new old girl no longer wants to live in this terribly and fairly boring world of boring men. The new old girl, if she doesn't want to, does not have to be new, old, or a girl. Thank you.
Thank you, Sveta. And now we'll be moving on with Lilli Luuk. Lilli Luuk first appeared on the Estonian literary scene in 2017. Her debut short story, Whole, published when she was still an unknown author, received the Friedrich Douglass Short Story Award. A few years later, Miss Kolkhoz received the same award, and the short story collection of the same title was nominated for the annual Literature Award of the Cultural Endowment of Estonia. And in 2000 well, of course, I want to say her second novel, Night Mother, at the moment, it is Estonia's nominee for the European Union Prize for Literature also. So I will just let Lilli take the stage now.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here, and it's very good to see you here. And Kristjan, I'm sorry. My story is a kind of story that needs a soft chair and glass of water to read. For camera is okay.
Või sa võid võtta selle mikri sealt lihtsalt? Jaa.
Because this is not poetry, it's a little bit different story. And if you want to read it in Estonian, this is a book, Miss Kolkhoz, but you can't find it anywhere because it's all sold out. So you have to go online to the EstLit page and you can find an English version of this short story there. Thursday of the 15th September, the hairdresser workshop is on the ground floor of the Kolkhoz office, and it stores right opposite the payroll office. When we first started school, there was still a picture of Lydia's mom hanging on the honors board or front rank workers on the far wall on the main hall. Twice a month, the tractor drivers and mechanics queue up for the wages until the cashier got their money, breathing in the eye-wateringly strong smell of coating fluid, hovering in the dim foyer into lungs already steeped in engine oil and Prima or Rumba tobacco. Yesterday, in the afternoon, we studied at Lydia's and sang the patriotic songs we remembered hearing on the radio at the end of the summer. In the room behind the old farmhouse kitchen, we played around with trigonometry and later with Lydia's mom's electric curling tongues. Lydia's got another sewing project underway. She's taking her granddad's old leather coat down from the attic, unpicked it and the seams, and cut out pieces for a skirt. The patterns come from Soviet women, copied onto wallpaper. She has the patience for things like that. Unfortunately, Lydia's sewing came out to a halt yesterday because one of the needles of the old singer machine got stuck in the thick leather of the coat, and Lydia's mom wouldn't let her use the electric machine with a foot. The needle broke off. Because Lydia can be pretty clumsy, she's got a blue mark on her hand, like a plum. I didn't ask whether she'd fallen over or something. She looks like a whore from Virut Street, said Lydia's mom. Not about Lydia, about the new hairdresser. I don't really know what a whore from Virut Street looks like. We did see some punks on our class trip to Tallinn in the spring, and we all stared at their leather jackets covered in safety pins and hand-painted slogans, dyed hair stuck up with spray, until our bus slowly charged off over the cobblestones. The punk boys were brimming with pride, with superiority, and the girls were wearing short denim skirts with ripped hems and net stockings. Their eyes were outlined with these black lines drawn on with pencil. We sat silently in our seats. It was unpleasant being on the bus in that heat. We saw her looking out of the dusty window of the bus, watching life in Tallinn like a film, like poachers watching animals in the Serengeti. Lydia's going to the hairdressers. She was practically buzzing as he told me, looking elated. Her mom won't give her any money for that, and definitely not permission either. Let us linger to behold the golden wheatled in your head, were the teacher's word, when Lydia let down her hair in the middle of a lesson one time. We are not actually allowed to have our hair down at school, and it was a metaphor or something like that, because the class teacher is the Estonian language teacher. Lydia will think of something. She's used to always thinking of something. Saturday, 24th September. My tears keep flowing. I got up from in front of the TV and went to my room, so Mom and Dad wouldn't see, so that they wouldn't have to hide their tears. Words can't describe the enormity. Somewhere in my belly, in a different, immense force, is beating away. It's like I'm flying on the lightweight bike myself, circling the track, over the line like a bird with strong wings. Through the window I can even see the sky shedding tears. The whole world is weeping with joy for her. I'd like to pick Erika up like a little girl, dry her cheeks with a handkerchief, press my nose into her hair, and hug. I call Lydia. Her mom answers. Her voice sounds different today. The plosives are soft when she calls Lydia. Tuesday, the 18th of October. Today after school we got the bus into town to get photos taken at the photographer's. Lydia needed a picture of her new hairstyle. The kiosk in town had Polish cosmetics in, so we could buy pearl lipstick before the photos were taken. There were no fishnet tights, nor any with patterns. There were no tights at all. I still have money left from the hoeing I did at the work and recreation camp in summer, and Lydia had some rubles from her dad. Quite a few, I guess, because on 21st June Square, we even got milkshakes with plum juice at the refreshment bar in heavy tea glasses to each. The photographer came out from behind the camera and arranged Lydia's hair and shoulders as she sat in front of the brown-black curtain. He held Lydia's chin in his hand, palm up, and he leaned over her to adjust her posture. If the shadow falls right, the dark bruise on her high cheekbones won't be visible. Lydia looked boldly into the eye, into the lens. She hasn't always been like that. Maybe it's the new hairstyle. The weather has become bleaker. The wind was getting in through my coat today. Lydia has a new jacket, fluffy with pink stripes on the sleeves. She looked like she was from Tallinn today. We came back on the 5 o'clock bus, and that was also where I heard what Lina from the shop said about the hairdresser. I don't like taking the bus. That winter where Corby visited Estonia, a February day when we all crowded at the same square to watch the head of state's cortege. Did you see Raisa's coat, Lydia? Wearing waterproof jackets and ski hats, every bloody Wednesday of that winter, I went into town to the group leaders' meeting at the Pioneer's house. Once, on the bus back home, a man sat behind me, while another sat next to me. As the bus moved off, the one behind me threw his arms around me, forced his hands under my jacket, straight to my breasts, and pressed me hard against the back of the seat. The reek of vodka and beer made me want to puke. He might have smelled of puke too. I couldn't get away. What with the other one sitting next to me and the bus packed full of standing passengers. I tried to pull myself away somehow, but those hands kept on squeezing. Then I tried looking out the window, but I saw only the infinite darkness of the snowless winter behind the sweaty window pane. The man said something to me, more a grumble than actual words. When the bus turned towards the center, the other man said, right, now, let the girl be, or something. What I was most afraid of was then getting off the same stop as me. A prostitute. Who does she think she's wagging her bony ass? Said Lina from the shop, still audible over the noise of the bus, and her double chin wobbled with glee at gossiping. She was holding a bulging plastic bag, its handles reinforced with sticky tape, with Marlboro written in it, red letters. Wednesday, the 19th of October. A grey, procrastinated and joyless day. Lydia didn't come out today or around my house to pick up the Mahavok record. Her mom must still be mad about her hair. She didn't come to school either. It's weird. Thursday, the 20th of October. Lydia's sick. She didn't come to the phone. Her mom said, sick, and hung up. Monday, the 24th October. It wasn't a cold. The class teacher told someone at break time that Lydia had fallen badly when carrying wood indoors from the shed, slipped, and immediately fell. Sometimes she's clumsy when she walks. Wednesday, the 2nd of November. I know that Lydia burns a candle on the windowsill in her room on the evening of All Souls' Day as well. The window looks out onto the dark old apple orchard. There's no light on the road. It's a big orchard. Under the mossy trunks of the apple trees, everything tends to run wild. Sometimes Lydia's dad cuts down the fall grass, serves a set, and summer they have a cabbage and potato fields and hay for the animals. In the heat of last summer, the old peonies under Lydia's window bloomed rapidly, first pink with a finer stem, and then fleshy, large-petaled white ones with a blood-red core. Ma thinks it's better if I don't go around to Lydia's right now. I burn a distant candle on an old gold-rimmer saucer and listen to Madonna, a tape I borrowed from Lydia. She certainly got a very good haul at the cassette dealers at the autumn fair. One side of this cassette ends all the way through, but still, I hope it's all right to dance a little on All Souls' Day. Monday, the 14th of November. True, I could be thinner. Also, no one's made jokes about my figure. And we need new swimsuits for the summer. My mom says we won't be getting nice ones. There are never any nice ones to buy. I called Lydia on Saturday after television closed down. Luckily, she picked up the phone, so her parents must have gone to bed. Straight away, I blurted out my idea. She has to enter the pageant when she's 16. Maybe sooner, next year. Lydia's taller than me, busty, and eloquent. More beautiful than Heli, I think. Heli wasn't Lydia's favorite either. She liked Sigrid, who became Miss Press, whereas I thought she was too ordinary. Our hairdresser would have looked great in that shiny swimsuit. Thank you.
And thank you, Lilli. And the text, yes, it's online on our website, and I have to say I love it very much. It has been haunting me for over a year now because, I adore it. And one day when you get a chance, when Night Mother will be translated to English or to other languages as well, which it will most definitely be, then I suggest to read it because, yes, it's quite a pearl. But the next author is Hasso Krull. Hasso Krull is a leading Estonian poet, tinker and translator whose work connects mythology, philosophy and contemporary poetry. He has been a key intellectual voice since the 1990s. He has introduced Estonian readers to thinkers such as Derrida and Foucault, co-founded the online poetry journal Ninniku, and translated authors from Georges Bataille to Pentti Saarikoski. His epic Meeter ja Demeter won the Baltic Assembly Prize. In 2022, he received the Cultural Endowment of Estonia's Poetry Award for opening. And in 2024, he defended his doctoral thesis, Cosmic Trickster in Estonian Mythology. And tonight he might be reading text that appeared in EstLit, or he might be reading something completely new. I don't know, so let him come here.
Tere õhtust! Good evening to everybody. Hyperactivity, hyperpassivity, hyperreality as a behavioral disorder alert, thinking disorder, feeling disorder, hyper, a word made of white spiraling dots, hyper-modernity, and just a couple of sensible politicians over 3 generations. Greta Thunberg, subcommandante Marcos. I just thought how I should introduce these 2 poems that I'm reading. Then I recalled a story that happened to a friend of mine, an artist friend in the 90s, when he was traveling abroad and bringing some of his works with him. And there in the custody, they asked him, is it some kind of artwork that you are bringing along with you? It's not allowed, I think. And then my friend answered, no, it's not an artwork. I made it myself. And then the custodian looked at him, oh, you made it yourself, just go along. So these translations are not real translations. I made them myself. The snail stood up and walked because Jesus told him so. The snail asked, "Dear Jesus, can I lick you a little?" "Of course," said Jesus, and lay down. All the snails came to relish on his flesh. Where Jesus snored, the nightingales broke into singing. Thus the Nightingale Valley was created. A tiny green plant sprout from the shit. And the harvester said, "I am the way, the truth, and the death." "We shall go to the edge of the world," said the snails. That's where Jesus is hanging upside down, his hair rushing, roaring like a waterfall. Now a translation by Adam Cullen. My body is the dream of my ancestors. Bone and skin, hair and fat, They saw it long ago, but so little time has passed that no one believes it. My ass isn't bulbous and springy just because someone sat upon it for thousands of years, then lent me the cheeks. Don't just wear them down. When you sit, then sit with pleasure. Sit with a purpose. And so now I do. But my thoughts won't stay still. I fidget. I stand up, go to the window, out the door, hurry to the shore, and there you walk, gorgeous Europa, the old pagan's lover. But say, why do you hold that bloody knife? Now I also thought I'll make a little experiment and read a text I've never read before myself. It's in fact a libretto to a transmedial artwork by Monica Matisse, and it was performed a couple of years ago in Cologne together with many musicians who also read the text. I didn't, but the text was read in several different languages. Now I will ask from you, are there any German speakers? Yeah. Somebody. And are there any Spanish speakers? Not yet. Okay. Then I'll just make it like that. I'll read the synopsis, and then the German one, and then the Estonian one, and the longer English text. Ariadne aus Neanderthal. Synopsis. There will be a time for making changes, but no one is ready yet. People merely try to save anything that can be saved, but nothing can be saved anymore. It is already too late. A human being has 3 souls: masculine, feminine, and one more, a primordial soul. This soul is older than humans themselves. It is as ancient as Neanderthals, or even older. If the masculine and feminine souls don't know what to do, the Neanderthal soul comes to their aid. She is the Ariadne from Neanderthal. Although we are not ready to make changes, the earth is always ready. The earth is waiting, but inside of the earth is a labyrinth unknown to us. Therefore, we need some guidance. The masculine and feminine souls cannot be this guide. Ariadne from Neanderthal is the guide. The stuff of the new life will be woven on her loom. The sources of that stuff are very old. The patterns of that stuff will create the code for life. Mad honey, meli meinomenon, is a part of those patterns. Whoever has tasted it is awaited to attend the wedding of Dionysus and Ariadne. Die Erde ist ein Traum, Die Erde ist ein großer Traum. Die Erde ist das Nest eines großen Traums. Die Erde ist der Stoff eines großen Traums im Wasserreich. Du bist ein Faden. Du bist der Untergang des Fadens. Du bist der Untergang des Fadens rot. Du bist die dunkle Nacht des Fadenlebens. Ne, an der, ne, an der Tal, ne, ar. Ein Mann, eine Frau, eine Neandertalerin, eine Seele und eine andere Seele und noch eine Seele, eine Neandertalerinnenseele. Wir weben, wir drei, wir weben dich drei, deinen Traum, wir weben deinen Stoff, wir weben den Stoff deines Traums im Wasserreich. Ari, 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 de, ne, ar, ne, an, der, ne. Maa on uni. Maa on suur uni. Maa on suure une pesa. Maa on suure une kangas vette vallas. Sina oled lõim. Sina oled lõimeloojang. Sina oled lõimeloojang punane. Sina oled lõimeelu tume öö. Ne, an, der, ne, an, der, ne, an, der, taal, ne, ar. Üks mees, üks naine, üks neandertali naine, üks hing ja veel üks hing ja veel üks hing, neandertali hing. Me koome, kolmekesi koome, sinu kolmekesi, sinu unenäo me koome, sinu kanga, sinu unekanga koome vette vallas. Ari, 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 de, ne, ar, ne, an, der, ne. The earth is a dream. The earth is a lucid dream. The earth is the nest of a lucid dream. The earth is the stuff of a lucid dream in the realm of waters. You are a thread. You are the nightfall of a thread. You are the nightfall of a thread red. You are the dark night of the life of a thread. Ne ander, ne ander, ne an, der tal, ne ar. One man, one woman, and one Neanderthal woman. One soul, and one more soul, and one more soul, a Neanderthal soul. We'll all weave thee by three. We'll weave you by three. We'll weave your dream, your stuff. We'll weave the stuff of your dream in the realm of waters. Ari, 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 de, ne, ar, ne, an, der, ne. You step onto the earth as if onto a carpet. Soul shivering under the bush, shivering in the wind. A tiny plant sprouts by the nest in the wind. Primula, Ariadne's primula. Globe flower, Ariadne's globe flower. Azalea, Azalea. Me li, me noumenon. You step onto green earth as if onto a green carpet. A tiny soul sprouts under the bush, surges under the bush, blooms under the bush, and the stuff of the earth is sleeping. The pattern, the code of the earth is sleeping under the earth. The code of the red thread, the nightfall of the red thread over shimmering waters, green dawn of the waters inside the dark night, says the tired earth, I am sleeping. In the veins of the tired earth, the mad honey of the nightfall is sleeping. Bumblebees buzzing in the calyxes of flowers. Ariadne from Neanderthal and Dionysus, the old pagan, celebrate their wedding.
Thank you, Hasso. It was fascinating. Now, the next author is Mathura. Mathura is an Estonian poet, writer, and artist. He has received the Gustav Suits Poetry Award and the Virumaa Literary Award for the year's best historical novel. He has published 12 books, and his work has been translated into several languages. He has held exhibitions at the Estonian National Library, the Viinistu Art Museum, and elsewhere. Tonight he may read from his poetry, his translations, or perhaps both. So Mathura, the stage is yours.
Yes, good evening from me as well. Indeed, Kristjan gave me pretty free hands, but I thought I'll be here today in two positions, both as an author but also as a translator of Estonian literature. And I'll start really with the latter. And I'll introduce you to an Estonian poet from the earlier part of the 20th century, whose name is Ernst Enno. You can find a couple of these translations also in this printed edition of EstLit that Kristjan was showing before. But last year, when we celebrated Ernst Enno's 150th anniversary, I brought out, just for the market here, the first little collection of Enno's poetry in English, Unheard, the Home is Humming, which, if you're interested, I have a few copies for purchase. You can just approach me afterwards. But as a start, I wanted to read a couple of poems from him. And I'll just briefly say that Ernst Enno is usually considered the leading or the foremost lyrical poet of the time. Actually, to make a little sidetrack, I thought before that this phrase, the leading poet, I thought, okay, what would be the opposite, the tailing poet? And I thought maybe that would actually be a more creative position to be the tailing poet. So I think in some ways Ernst Enno was the leading lyrical poet of the time, but a tailing poet in general terms, a little bit out of spotlight. But afterwards, many of his poems have been made into songs, both choral songs as well as pop music. And I think he has become very well appreciated in Estonian literature. And when I approached this task of translating him, I felt that in his poetry, sort of the sound or maybe more the pace of the poetry or the writing is actually maybe as important as the semantics of it or as the meanings of it. So this was one of the tricky parts, because I think the pace of the Estonian language doesn't translate very naturally into English usually. But it's a long introduction now, but just to give you an idea, I actually wanted to read you one of his poems in Estonian, which I think is probably has become sort of his signature poem or the best known poem. So I'll read it in Estonian. You can hear the kind of sound and rhythm of it, and I'll read the same thing in English. Nii vaikseks kõik on jäänud, su ümber ja su sees. Mis oli, see on läinud, mis tuleb, alles ees. Päev pole, öö ei ole, silm nagu seletaks, kui kuskil mäenõlval sa üksi seisataks ja ümber nagu tuuled su üle juttu aaks. Ei mõista, siiski kõigest nagu aru saaks. Ei mõista, vaatad üles ja vaatad tagasi ja ohkad endamisi ja ohkad jällegi. Nii vaikseks kõik on jäänud su ümber ja su sees. Mis oli, see on läinud, mis tuleb alles ees. All falling into silence around you, deep within. What's in the past is gone now. What's coming, beckoning. Not dark, nor daylight either, upon a hillock where you stopped alone, observing if there is something there. The winds, they go on talking, high up above your head. Without understanding, you comprehend what's said. And not yet understanding, you look up and behind, just sighing to yourself there, just sighing one more time, all falling into silence around you, deep within. What's in the past is gone now. What's coming, beckoning. And I'll read one more from him before I move on to my own work. This one you can't find in the magazine, but you can find it in the book. And is maybe less known, but has also been made into a song in Estonian. And, well, it kind of describes the season now. I know many visitors who come at this season here, they struggle because it's never quite dark, but here is our answer to the problem. The poem is called White Night is Happiness. So tender the darker while of a white night, so tender and deep is its mind. A nightingale sings till another one starts, the third one, the voice there inside your heart that no words can really describe. Where is the shore where all distances meet? Oh, why aren't you yet sleeping? Half light, half shade is the path of the heart. Joy and sadness chiming together impart a blessed moment that is happiness. Go while it lasts. Go where you'd linger forever. All repeats itself. Even the actors remain, as many have pondered again and again. Let your head be thoughtlessly clever. Let all be the shore where distances meet, the night the caress of 1,000. Go slowly and sing when alone on the road. Let the mind once entangled no longer be moan, be helped by these hands of 1,000. Go slowly and sing, and unlearn it all. Let the haze and the world stay asunder. A nightingale sings till another one starts. The third one, the voice there inside your heart. Let the happy eye glisten and wonder. Thank you very much, and I'll move on to my own writing now, and I'll maybe finish with something different, but at least I'll start with a selection of poems which appear in the online edition of EstLit, the spring, the most recent online edition of the magazine. The first poem is The Forest of Ignatievo, after Arseny Tarkovsky, the Russian poet who was the father of the filmmaker Andrei Tarkovsky. It comes in two parts. Part one. Be it only for a day or two, I wish to take this time to live together in a house that holds nothing but dark walls and butterflies. Oak and apple trees surround it, adders nest in the moss, and some voice keeps on knocking in my head. Let every miracle be simple. It isn't dumb, this house, no, but not everybody makes sense of what it is saying. Wind comes skidding across the grey meadows. Sleep touches your eyes. Again and again you fall, and yet you don't sense any danger. You know that sleep is real, that it stares right in through filthy windows. Speechless, you gaze back and accept the universal darkness. Be sure then, this house will save you after all. And part 2. Well, remember the winter. It is not before midsummer that I return into the forest, to the house, to the beautiful, vast nothing enveloping the garden in its abundance or rant. Hay reaching to the chest and lupins blossom in its midst, drunk on wild jasmine. But the weight of December snow persists. An old apple tree is broken in two branches in leaf, little fruits popping. Oh, don't I know it, I say then. Don't people break the same over their own winters, barely keeping their branches together, and yet, as summer comes, they bear fruit again to those willing to taste them, to have their fill, as if nothing had changed from last year to this. And there's another two-part poem there called Two Visions, but I'll just read the first of those. It describes the northern coastline of Estonia, and well, you would probably know at least somewhat our troubled history and also the Soviet period of it, when for some period it was, you couldn't go to the sea everywhere. It was the border region, so that, stop all the Westerners who desperately wanted to come to the Soviet Union. So it is a reflection of these landscapes now, many years later. It is not quite from sleep that I wake up every morning, to see things swap places, meanings tear, to see the land swell, bushes roll like the tide, hear the wind whistling somewhere in my head, white daisies feathers the immensity of greenery, then all stops, thickens to a word I'm unable to utter. Every morning I wake, the world has gained or lost a dimension, and I need to keep on looking for a grip in this truth that appears and dissolves, or dissolves and appears. A motorboat, heather that is blooming, a rocket base. Once all this area was closed, but now it is open and empty. A squall of Arctic terns. The space between the land and sea, the space between. Okay, and I'll finish with a poem. Thanks. This was all Estonia now, but I thought I'll finish with a poem which travels. I've actually written quite a bit over traveling, and this comes now from a collection which looks like this, Echo of a Stone, which was published a couple of years ago in India, actually, so I'm not sure how available it is, but I'll read the poem from there, which is called Siena, which is, of course, an old town in Italy, but it also denotes a specific color, sienna. This poem begins with rainfall in narrow streets. Everything is first a dream. There was once only a hillock there, drowned in sunlight and a sea of cypresses. But now it rains on pale and patient paths of stone, ever polished by the feet of visitors. Is there a meaning to it? Archways, walls of houses, the chime of bells and an echo of praises. Rains that keep on falling on Piazza del Campo, wetting my hair. The only word for it is serenity or business. But hasn't heaven always been a place for those who are ready to come falling down again? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mathura. And I will be ending with a small epilogue. So, diazepam dulls the social nerve, dulls the interest in astrology and holy scripture, methadone the bare muscle joys of weekday poetics. A butter gleams in the carrier net, summer daylight gleams with full-bodied, force-fed women caught in mesh. The air smells of unconscious flesh. In the air, unconsciousness. The gathering meets by the observatory. The soul longs for sound and color and sharpness. Sound and color and sharper still. More. One joyrider boasts tracksuit at half-mast. In his eyes, 2 black discs, the size of bulls. A bottle glints in the carrier net. The crew assembles. Cups clink, glasses clink. Body meets body, eye meets eye. Sex touches sex. Your German virus tastes in this spring like Majnun with the sweetest of honeys. Who is listening beneath the cloud to the drab sweet poetry of weekdays? Who pushes into my July land of torment and charm? Yes, all right, it's May. Don't mock me. I remember I'm still cold. I have 3 endings planned for this year of life. What a joke. And what illness shall I bring you from Vilnius, Malde, France's lice, melancholia? What from Vienna? What from Tartu? But let us forget the blossoms of affliction. Let us celebrate this shack, this celestial tent, this never-before-seen cage where your childhood and mine ride the Bundesautobahn into the brightest dark of the year, straight down the stairs. In that distant cellar, there's a little girl and a little boy. 2 teenagers, one wants a cigarette, the other a kind word. One a kind word, the other a cigarette. One wants the other cigarette. Stimulants, truth, love. Thank you.